Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 1. Tottenham close out the 2025 calendar year with a victory at Selhurst Park. Welcome into Top of the Perch. I am your host, as always, Nick Burt. We're back from the holiday somewhat break. It's really no different than any other week because we played on, Saturday last week? Now we're playing on Sunday. Week off. No real different. Obviously not a huge Boxing Day fixture list this year. There was only the one game stacked yesterday and then two today, including Tottenham. They close out this match week 18. And, well, here we are. We are halfway through the 2025-26 Premier League season. And, of course, that comes right at the end of the calendar year. Tottenham, it's obviously been terrible run of form as of late, but trying to go out at least on top for right now in this calendar year. I will say the first few minutes of this game were a drag. Tottenham very much struggling. There were a few counter-attacking opportunities that honestly just nothing really came of them. Palace were always there to basically just knock it down whenever they could. It was very much a struggle for Tottenham to get anything going on the attacking end early on in this game. Palace found ways to basically counter that. And they were giving Tottenham a real good test on that back line early on. Few shots that, squeaked through. Vicario either making key saves, getting some goal line clearances basically, even though, plays would be offside. Stuff like that. It could have been a lot worse of a first half, obviously. Obviously, the first 15, 20 minutes there. So, it felt like Palace kind of were a little bit in control of the game. It could have been a lot worse, but it stayed 0-0. We get to the 17th minute. It's a cross into the box that finds Richarlison. Richarlison puts it into the back of the net. It is 1-0 Tottenham, but, of course, there is always a but. VAR takes a look at it. Richarlison offsides. In the build-up, the Palace defenders were tracking back forward to the top of the box. Richarlison didn't move with them. He was caught out in the offsides position. Goals taken off the board. It is back to 0-0 in this one. He comes close again in the 20th minute. He just couldn't get a good touch on it in a chase down to the end of the box. But like I said, it felt like the story of this first half, even though Tottenham's football was kind of dreary, it was the defensive effort because Palace very much were controlling the tempo of this game. There's no doubt about it. Palace very much controlled this one, and there wasn't really much Tottenham was doing on the attacking end outside of the Richarlison goal that obviously didn't end up being a goal. So we get to the 42nd minute. Tottenham force a corner, drives into the far post. I believe it's Kolomouani, heads it back kind of into the top of the 6-yard box. Richarlison's there. He heads it. And then Archie Gray, who's basically 3 yards from goal, maybe even less. He basically on the goal line. He gets one final touch on it. He heads it into the back of the net, gives Tottenham a 1-0 lead. No question about VAR, no offsides, none of that. Archie Gray gets his first Premier League goal. I believe he is the youngest player to score for Spurs at Selhurst Park since Dele Alli, which that's kind of, interesting stat. But Archie Gray finally gets his first goal in the Premier League for Tottenham Hotspur. Just a massive goal, massive strike, header, all that fun stuff. Tottenham take a 1-0 lead into the first half break. Like I said, it was kind of a dreary first half. Tottenham weren't really creating a lot of opportunities. It was what it was. It could have been a lot worse. They didn't concede in key moments, and they made sure this game stayed basically at the 0-0 mark until they obviously took advantage of that, took the lead going into the halftime break. Coming out of the halftime break, it was a little bit more of the same. And things didn't really change until about the 66th, 67th minute. Tottenham brought on Wilson Odegaard, and the game kind of changed. He looked really good. I don't know why he's not starting, but hey, it is what it is. He had a very, very good cameo today. He was getting Tottenham in position, to be in position basically. He was making some really good defensive efforts out there. But again, playing an actual left winger, playing on the left, absolutely wild. It's kind of revolutionary tactic there by Thomas Frank. He had a few good shots in this game too, which was really nice to see. It obviously would have been nicer if could turn into goals, but it doesn't. 75th minute. It's Archie Gray, basically right around midfield, feeds it to Kudus into the box. Kudus crosses it to the far post where Richarlison's waiting, puts it in the back of the net. It's 2-0 Tottenham, but wait. Of course, VAR has a look at it. Richarlison's caught in an offside position again. It is back to 1-0 as VAR overturns it. And that would be all she wrote here. Radu Dragusin gets on in about the 86th, 85th minute. His first appearance since January of this year, which is, he's basically been out a year. It's good to see him back. Hopefully more playtime coming soon. But yeah, that would be all she wrote for the 2025 calendar year for Tottenham Hotspur. They walk away with a 1-0 victory away at Selhurst Park. Let's take a look at the player ratings today. It's going to be kind of a shock to have Richarlison as man of the match when he didn't even score. Yes, he had the assist on the goal, but he had a really good game today. I know he was caught offsides twice, but he still was in really good positions at points, and he looked really good. I was happy with what I saw from him today. Give him an 8-4. Kolo Mullani plays on the left today again when Wilson Odegaard came on. Game kind of changed for the better for Tottenham. Kolo Mullani, not the greatest of days. 6.9. Again, didn't think it was amazing. Could have been a lot better. It's fine. Lucas Bergvall, he got injured today, got subbed off in the 65th minute. I thought he was doing well up until the point he obviously picked up an injury. It would have been nice to see him play the full 90 today. I get he couldn't because of the injury, but 7-4, decent day for him. I was happy with what I saw from him. I honestly think he's getting better. He just needs to play in a consistent position. We can't keep playing him in 50 different positions and hope one of them works out. Let's play him in one position and make sure it works out. I get that players have to know how to play multiple positions in this day and age, but it is what it is. Mohamed Kudus gets a 7-2. He had a few good opportunities today. I thought he was doing well. Obviously, a few good opportunities. Few turnovers that were a little questionable, but here we go. It is what it is. 7-2. Archie Gray, goal scorer, gets a 8-1 today. Obviously, very happy with that. Getting his first goal in the Premier League. That was just outstanding to see. He's a player I've been very high on. Him and Bergvall need to be the future of this club. Honestly, I'm kind of willing to throw Odeberg in there. He has his good games and he has his bad games. Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall need to be the faces of this club. They are our future. I see the future in them. I sure hope that, they are a part of our main future, no matter who the manager is. Really happy today, 8-1. Rodrigo Bentancur, 7-5. Did decent today. Could have been better, but he made his plays when he needed to. That's all that matters, 7-5. Jed Spence gets an 8-3 on that left wing today, basically, that left defensive wing, whatever you want to call it, left back. He plays a lot of those positions. 8-3, I thought he did really well today, really locked down that left side. He had a few opportunities in there attacking-wise, but obviously his main thing is locking down that back line, and that's what he did today. Mickey Van de Ven gets a 7-8. Good performance today. Kevin Donzo comes in for Christian Romero, who obviously is out with red card suspension. And I should have mentioned that's why Bergvall was playing in that position today, because Xavi Simons is out with red card suspension. Kevin Donzo gets an 8-1. He had a really, really good performance today. Honestly, the whole back line had a really good performance today. Porro gets a 7-6, Vicario an 8-0. He made some good saves. I was happy with what I saw. Really good game from all of them today. Joao Palhinha comes on in the 65th minute. That was for Lucas Bergvall. He gets a 6-8. Again, it wasn't the greatest, wasn't the worst. Could have been a lot better. Could have been a lot worse. And then Wilson Odeberg also came on in the 65th minute. He came on for Kolo Muani, and like I said, kind of changed the game. That's why he's getting one of the higher grades of this game at a 7-7. He had a good shot on target from outside the box. He had a shot that hit the post and probably should have been in if it was just an inch to the right, basically. A lot of good opportunities from him today. Like I mentioned, Radu Dragic makes his first appearance since mid-January of this year. He came on in the 85th minute. Same with Brennan Johnson, whose future very much in question right now. Tottenham Hotspur comes on in the 85th minute. Obviously, there are rumors swirling. He may be making a move to Crystal Palace. We'll see if it actually happens. I'm not fully convinced that it will, but you never know. So that is your final player ratings of 2025. And speaking of finals of 2025, the final record for Tottenham Hotspur in the 2025 calendar year has been set. Played 59 games this calendar year. Won 23, drew 11, lost 25. Goals for 87, goals against 83. That is across all competitions, of course. If you want the Premier League record over this calendar year, listen, it's not going to tell a good story. Overall, like I said, it is less than ideal, to say the least. Tottenham finished in 15th place in the Premier League this year. That is just ahead of West Ham and Wolves, who are the only other two teams that have played the full calendar year in the Premier League. Tottenham had 10 wins, 6 draws, 20 losses. They had 49 goals for, 60 goals against, a negative 11 goal differential, and 36 points on the year. Compared that to, like I said, West Ham and Wolves. West Ham were on 33 points, and Wolves were on 28. Now, Wolves only have 2 points this season. Like I said, not the greatest of looks for Tottenham, especially since the next highest above them in 14th was Nottingham Forest, and they were on 46 points, a full 10 points ahead of them. It is very, I think, fair to say, this calendar year has been dross and terrible, and honestly, one of the worst in recent Tottenham Hotspur memory. Now, of course, the massive, massive caveat there is the winning of the Europa League, bringing a trophy back to North London for the first time since 2008, bringing a European trophy back for the first time since 1984. That is going to wash a lot of things away from this calendar year. But, I mean, you got to look at it for what it is. A lot of those, like I said, 23 wins over all fixtures. That means 13 of those wins came in either the Europa League, the Champions League, the Carabao, or the FA Cup. Only 10 of those wins came in league. If we just, we aren't ones to be comparing to Man City because we are not on their level whatsoever. Just in league play alone, they had 24 wins this season. It's just, for a club the size of Tottenham, this shouldn't be what we're talking about right now. But, of course, it is. The past few months have been absolutely dreadful. You pick up a win here and there, like today. You pick up a win, and that's huge because that moves us up to, I think, 11th in the Premier League table, which we shouldn't be saying that when we were, I think, we were a decent ways off of the relegation zone right now because, like, the three that are going down this year are going to be Wolves, Burnley, and West Ham, just because there's already a gap creating. Like I said, Wolves are on 2 points. They're as good as gone. Burnley's on 12. West Ham's on 13. Your next closest is Nottingham Forest at 18 and Leeds United at 20. And yeah, Tottenham are only 5 points off of Leeds United right now. But if you look at it, they're only also 5 points off of fifth right now, with Chelsea on 29 points in fifth. Again, it would take a lot for Tottenham Hotspur to get to fifth, and hell, maybe even fourth with Liverpool on 32. But like, they are just in a mediocrity zone right now. I know a lot of people with Frank. I understand. Frank is not fully worked out at this point. I think a lot of people were expecting a lot more than what they're doing right now. And I'll be honest, it hasn't been the greatest of watches. I haven't been enjoying it as much. But when you got the other side of it, the Ange Postecoglou thing, I get it. He won us a trophy. He won us a European trophy. That is absolutely monumental. And yes, I get the whole, we were focused on Europa League. That's why, the league form looked dross. I mean, you just can't phase that out. That's the main part of our season. Yes, I will always be thankful for that Premier League victory. But, like, you just got to look at it, and it's like, we were awful in the league. And I don't think he was the answer either. Is it possible that both could be correct, that both Frank and Postecoglou weren't the answer for us, really? I think so, yes. Postecoglou had an amazing, outstanding first 10-game run with Tottenham Hotspur in 2023. We thought we found the future. And we never recaptured that. It was always a struggle. We never really could find that form again, whether it be through injuries or be through, extenuating circumstances, whatever. It just never could find that again. I think he did run his course. Do I think Frank is close to running his course? I honestly don't know. I don't know what this ownership, this non-Daniel Levy running the program ownership truly entails, really. We have no idea what any of their plans are. They took over, a week after the transfer window closed, I believe. It might have been a week before. I honestly don't remember. I know it was right around that point, though. I want to say it was right after the window closed. Daniel Levy stepped down or was forced out, whatever you want. So we haven't really seen what this new structure has done. And, we brought Paratici back, and now Paratici may be on the first plane to Fiorentina with the apparent 5-year contract offer that is on the table for him. And yes, it's a little disappointing that we waited 2 years for his, worldwide ban to expire to bring him back, only for him to leave basically 4 months after for apparent disagreements about Thomas Frank. It's not a good look. It is definitely not the best of looks, and especially since he's going. Yes, Fiorentina are a decently sized club in Italy, but they currently sit bottom of Serie A on 9 points. They have 1 win this season, 6 draws, 10 losses. It's just, it's a scratch your head moment. And I don't want to make this about Paratici because he didn't obviously factor in what was happening on the field. But overall, I really think you can consider this season a failure. The calendar year, I should say. It's not the season. We're halfway through the season. We shouldn't be throwing season around. It's the calendar year we're talking about here, with the new year coming in basically, 3.5 days time, 3 days time, wherever you are watching this. It does raise some serious questions. 2026 is a massive, massive year for Tottenham Hotspur. Because you have the second half of this year you're going to have to chase after. You're already one step behind, basically, sitting in 11th. You are going to have to catch up to the field to make a European spot next year. And then you look at the Champions League run. I believe we are 1 point off of a top 8 finish right now, with one of the games remaining coming against a team in the top 8 right now. That is Borussia Dortmund. That game will be at home, a place we have not lost in European competitions in, I want to say it's 24 matches, I believe. That's an absolute massive game for Tottenham. And it's going to be a trendsetter for the calendar year. And I know they have the game against Frankfurt to close out the Champions League. I think that might be flipped, but I know the final 2 Champions League games are at home against Dortmund and away at Eintracht Frankfurt. And that's going to be at the end of January. Obviously, you've got the FA Cup coming up. That is in 2 weeks' time. That's a big question, too, because you are facing Aston Villa at home. And Aston Villa are one of the hottest teams in England right now. They have not lost or drawn a game since November 1st. They have gone basically 2 months unbeaten. They are very much making a chase at the Premier League right now, which is insane to say. But they have a massive matchup on Wednesday against Arsenal. That's going to be absolutely massive. But overall, this calendar year has been a failure for Tottenham Hotspur. I believe this is the most losses they've had in a calendar year in the Premier League era. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. And there really is only up to go. Like I said, in the full year table, you finish 2 places above the last 2 teams that have played a full calendar year. So it is what it is. But the Old Lang Syne will be playing on Thursday morning, and Tottenham Hotspur will be traveling to West London to take on Brentford in a kind of, like I said, it's kind of a massive matchup. Thomas Frank going back to Brentford on New Year's Day. Tottenham kind of desperately need 3 points. And I looked at the table today for home games and away games. Tottenham are top of the table on away games. I believe they have like 18 points or something like that. And then if you look at the home record table for this Premier League season, they're basically bottom of the table. Home, they sit in 17th on 8 points. They have 2 wins, 2 draws, 5 losses. Their away table have them sitting first in the Premier League with 5 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses. They are currently level on points on that away table with Arsenal and Aston Villa. Tottenham, top of the table. So Tottenham Hotspur being away from home need 3 points on Thursday. So that is going to wrap it up for the final Top of the Perch of 2025. Thank you so much for watching. If you just stumbled across this video, click like, click subscribe, tell anybody you know about it. We'll be back on New Year's Day. And we'll see what happens. Let's see what 2026 brings for Tottenham Hotspur. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again soon for another episode of Top of the Perch.